Mind Gap Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug, and Justin is not here. But don't worry, don't you fret, he's safe and well. Getting a nice golden tan down in the southern regions of his body. But more on that in a second. Joining me back once again to fill in for Justin is the one, the only, the mighty, the attractive, the curious, the courageous, the admirable, the adorable Seth Trammell. Seth, welcome back.
Doug, thank you. And that's one hell of an intro. Probably the best I've ever had in my life. That's a little bit of salt on that intro.
Hey, when you give some sugar, you have to add some salt for contrast. I learned that watching YouTube videos.
Yeah? Is that the only
And
thing you learn
you as
watching
a
YouTube
cook,
videos?
you know that as well. You know that's a truth.
Well, yeah, salty sweet. That's a great contrast.
That's right.
Wouldn't it be great, though, if every time that you went to pour salt out, it just made fart noises?
Oh, my God. That would be... I tell you what, speaking of fart noises, there's something
Something we never do here.
Something we never do here. There is a health clinic right by my house, just a minute drive from my house, where they do abortions. Dun, dun, dun. And every day...
Dying to see how you're going to loop this back around.
Oh, trust me, I've got a plan. Stay with me, gang. So I will concoct these mad fantasies in my mind, and every time I drive by there, it's always a bunch of old white people with nothing better to do who are out there protesting this place. They put up a bunch of dumbass signs. They yell at people that go in there. And I find it incredibly obnoxious. When I first moved here, 5 years ago, I was like, you know what? Good on those people. They're exercising their right, their freedom of speech, and so on and so forth. But as time has gone on, I was like, you know what? Fuck those people. Fuck them for being a bunch of dumb pieces of shit. And I have this fantasy, and I've started concocting this. And I've started to try and figure out how. I was like, because I'm sure they get people swearing at them all the time. I'm sure people,
They deserve it.
Flip the bird at them and whatever. They're used to. Sometimes they're really annoying and they'll wave at you as you drive by, and I'd make the jerk off hand motion to them because I'm like, listen, I live here. You don't need to fucking wave at me. All right, I don't need you.
Now wait. So you do the jerk off hand, but couldn't that also be yay, hold a picket sign
with one hand? Yeah, that's what I do.
One-handed picket sign. Yeah. That could be construed as support.
Okay. Yeah, get out of here. So what I really want to do. I technically have Bluetooth in my car, but I can't get it to work. What I really want to do is hook up my speaker, and I want to drive by slow, and I want to play a whole, all of these fart noises every time I drive by. I want to just, that's going to be, my ridiculous protest, and just hit them with, just all sorts of fart noises, and I want to do it every single day, because... my thought is, at first, they'll be like, well, that's weird. And then I'll just do it all the time to represent what they're doing all the time. And I'm hoping, over time, I'll start to wear on them. Where here comes the fart mobile, right? Here comes the guy who, and I'll wave as I do it, just hit all the fart buttons, just all the good stuff. And I always want to, I want to throw in the, the big one, and then I always want to end with this one. The grand finale. And
I remember when we recorded that.
Yes. And I just want to that's going to be my form of protest. And I want to make this happen.
Couple questions, follow-ups.
Yes.
One. All right, so you're talking about taking along a Bluetooth speaker with you, like a portable Bluetooth speaker, and blasting that out your window.
Yeah.
You got a bullhorn?
See, Jill said the same thing about a bullhorn, and no, I don't. I don't have one.
I think it's worth the investment if this is your dream, Doug. Then I think
I have a dream.
Don't rely on a because really, like once that sound from that Bluetooth speaker, once you get it out in the open air, it's these things aren't great at projecting omnidirectionally, right?
Yeah.
They're not. They're good for small spaces. That's where the bullhorn makes it all possible. You got that little like microphone, or not microphone, like the little CB radio handheld thing that you can have right next to your fart generator, and you just push the button down and boop boop.
And keep
boop,
in mind,
boop,
I got to
boop.
be driving while I do this. You know, so to hook this thing up and like what do I gotta do? Hold down the thing and I'm driving. I was like, that's dangerous, man. That's super dangerous.
You could absolutely rig a bracket so that way that
I don't think you can say that, Seth. I don't think you
rig a bracket. Yeah, you can.
Whoa, someone's getting canceled.
That way, that bullhorn, that megaphone is facing out your window. And all you're doing, you got your probably your phone. Probably that's where you keep your farts, right?
Yeah, I mean,
We all keep our farts on our phone.
I'll store them there, you know.
Right? There's several apps that you can purchase with farts, if you don't already own them. And so it's got that, it's got the little cable. It's got the little CB mic. So you got that right next to you. You're not having to lean over. Nothing. You just put the farts on loop. You hold down the CB mic button and just blast out your window as you go by. Make it a family event. Have somebody in the passenger seat.
Yeah.
Running the farts for you.
Make it really suspenseful. That was not the suspenseful one.
It is now.
There it is. There's the suspenseful one. I got it mixed up.
And then the next step, Doug, is that you grab your speaker, your bullhorn, whatever you're doing. You grab a lawn chair, and you go camp. You go camp right. You go post up next to them, and you just play farts like it's not like you're playing classical music, and you just sit there and you just absorb everything that they had, and you just let them loose.
Well, I can get a 45-watt, 2,000-yard sound range PA bullhorn for a low price of $222.
There you go.
2,000-yard, dude. That thing will get their attention.
Put it on the Kickstarter.
Hey, you know what, guys? Check out the link in the description down below. Join our Patreon. Check out our merch at redbubble.com.
If we meet this goal, you will get videos of this.
I will say, you know what? I will make this commitment. I will make this commitment. If we can raise $222, I will go to the effort of recording myself doing the fart bullhorn at the pro-life people.
You heard it here first, folks. Get to the Patreon now. Put in your donations, and this content is yours. This is
all it takes.
Yeah,
all it takes.
If 20 people donate $10, we're pretty much there.
Right?
If 10 people donate $20, we're there.
You know?
If 100 people donate $2, we're there.
If 45 people do $5, that's probably more than enough, you know?
If 17 people do $37.50,
we're there, you know?
We're beyond there.
We're there, man. And I will make that a Patreon exclusive video too. That will only go to you if you support that. That's what will happen. So, because you deserve it. You'll get first look.
Finally figuring out these tiers.
Finally, we're making it happen. We're making it happen.
Are you a golden fart bullhorn?
Did you? I will give you an emoji. I will give you a special.
Are you a silver fart Bluetooth speaker?
I will give you a special role in Discord that notates that you donated to the Fart Bullhorn Initiative.
You will get special soundboard privileges in the voice channels to play the farts of your choosing. You will get to put the farts on the fart playlist.
That's right. Look at who wants. I mean, this is power.
At the diamond fart bullhorn level, you get.
You can record your own farts and put them in there.
Exactly.
Listen, this is power that you couldn't get from the One Ring that was forged in Mount Doom by Sauron himself. I mean, he couldn't even conceive of power of this magnitude with all the malice and hatred that he poured into the ring, the One Ring to rule them all. Even that ring couldn't give you this kind of power.
Those dipshits sitting out in front of the abortion clinic are full of twice as much malice and hatred.
Yeah.
As Sauron ever imagined.
Exactly. And this is how we fight back. We fight back with farts. That sounds like a slogan if I've ever heard one. Fight back with farts. You know?
Come on down.
And I'll say this.
Chicago suburbs where we got
whenever we
farts.
get an excess of what's needed for the bullhorn, I will donate to an organization, to that clinic, to be like, I support you in my own way.
You'll buy them their own fart bullhorn to post outside of their building to keep up the good work while you're not driving by.
Because I do see people there that are like countering them. And I always see that there's like some sort of shouting match, and I'd love to be out there with them, be like, real quick, let me take care of this. And if I actually had one loaded in the chamber, just be like, just right out there. Just be like,
you know what? Maybe we even go. Have you seen that fart spray?
Oh yeah.
Like maybe we take it to the shit. Maybe we engage in a little chemical warfare. You know? You soak a few rags in fart spray.
Oh my god, dude! That's like worse than skunk. Ugh.
Right? Some of the reactions I've seen. I mean, obviously they're on like TikTok, which I don't actually have TikTok. I have Instagram, which is like 3 levels away from TikTok. It's like where TikTok videos go after they stop performing on TikTok.
It's true. It's totally fine because it's owned by Meta, so you know it's legit. It's good. You know.
But some of those reactions, they seem like, wow, this stuff's potent, or these people are not the worst actors ever.
The favorite thing I've seen is someone puts on like one of those dino costumes, you know, and then someone like puts the fart spray in there, and then the person is like struggling very quickly to get out because it just reeks like fart spray in their suit, and they're just like, ah!
See, my favorite toy is the one where it's like the old Southern guy who like is in like the duck blind or the deer blind, and like the one guy just like, oh man, my stomach, and he's like,
yeah.
And the guy, and then like he's like blocking the door.
Yeah.
And the other guy's like, man, the fuck you do? What'd you eat? And like they're gagging. But it's the person who sprays it never seems to be gagging as hard as the person who it's intended for.
Maybe they're prepared for it. Maybe that's the thing.
Is that what it is? It's
because I think it's a mental thing. You're prepared, you know it's not real. Whereas if you don't know it's real and you smell that, you're like, what the fuck is going on here? You know?
Like if you're about to like if you got some lemon juice, like you're gonna take like a shot of just like pure lemon juice, like you know what you're in for.
Right.
But like if somebody like slips you lemon juice and you weren't ready for it, it's like twice as powerful.
The expectation is there. You know, I'm gonna drink a glass of water, but it's like infused with cucumber. I'm gonna be like, there's something wrong with this water. You know? It's all about expectation, you know?
Right? You think you're getting a Sprite, but instead you got Crystal Pepsi.
Yeah, or you think you're getting a Sprite and you get like LaCroix. And you're just like, there's no flavor in this at all, you know? Or
Never
you're like me,
life.
years ago, you thought you were getting a Diet Pepsi and you got a mouthful of Miller Lite. Big difference, you know?
That feels like a story.
Yeah, it's a quick one. My sister,
I thought I was drinking Diet Pepsi. Turned out it was a Miller Lite.
Yeah, my dad boned his mom. All right, it's a short story. You know, it's a... I had my sister-in-law and brother-in-law in town, and they had a cooler, and it was dark outside. We were having a fire. I went over, thought I grabbed a Diet Pepsi, brought back down, cracked it open, took a big old swig, swished it around my mouth, accepting that sweet nectar of the Diet Pepsi, and I was like, this, and I swallowed. I'm like, that didn't taste like Diet Pepsi at all. And I looked down, I'm like, this is a Miller Lite. I was like, I don't like this at all. For the record, if you don't know, I don't drink. So that was double.
For the record, if you don't know, Miller Lite isn't good even if you like beer.
Exactly. So I've heard. Yeah. One of my favorite stories that was, I think, by accident is I went out to eat with a friend years ago. And we were at this restaurant, and he asked for, I think it was either a Bud Light or a Miller Lite. And the waiter, it was loud. The waiter couldn't hear him. He goes, oh, you like a water? And I laughed my ass off because even I, who don't drink, I understand like that's so watered down. And we laughed really hard. And he's like, "What?" He said like a Miller Lite. He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I was like, "No, that's funny."
The waiter was German.
The waiter was German for sure. Yeah, his name was.
That's the joke they make over there that Americans have 3 types of water.
His name was Dank Googlehausen. So I think you're right.
Dank Googlehausen. No, that's a Dutch name if I've ever heard one.
No, that's totally German. Googlehausen. I mean, come on.
Googlehausen.
Guys, speaking of Hausens,
The House von Google.
House von Google. One of my favorite things that Jill and I did when we were in Disney World.
Anal.
At Anal. Not quite. We're saving that for our 50th anniversary.
Silver.
As is tradition. At Epcot in Germany, there's like this little little train area, like little miniature trains, and there's also a restroom over there. And for one trip, like that was the go-to spot where I had to poop. Like I was like, oh my god, we got to get over to Germany because I have to take a poop. Like we were over there, and I was just like, we were close to it. I have to do it, so I nicknamed it the Poopenhausen. So whenever we go by, we're like, hey, it's the Poopenhausen. Like that's just what we named it. So fun stuff.
These are the landmarks that we recall, that we remember the most vividly.
Yeah, it's an inside joke that continues to this day. So, which I'm very proud of. Do you have any family inside jokes?
Poop spots?
Not necessarily poop spots, but just like inside jokes. We do. Yeah. Well, okay.
It's in Chicago.
Oh, you've got a Chicago poop stop?
Yep. So when my wife and I were first getting together, we took a cross-country road trip. Mm-hmm. And one of the stops was in Chicago to meet up with and stay with Andrew Timothy Dahl.
Ah. I don't think that's his name. I think his middle name is, what was it? Tichondrius? Yeah.
Bertram?
Yeah.
So anyway, we're walking around Chicago. Drew, I think, had a job or something. He worked at some dumbass place with some dumbass people, probably.
Probably did.
SMS or something. I don't know. I don't know actually where he was working back then.
I was like, wait, because here's what this means. It could have been the hotel. It could have been assignment desk, or it could have been SMS, because those were three jobs.
It would have been about 12 years ago.
So 2012, 13?
Yeah.
That would have been the assignment desk days. Dude.
Assignment desk. Okay.
That means you were already in the orbit of Justin and me.
Then. Yeah, I was. Right. I passed, I was like a comet that passed through your Kuiper Belt.
Oh.
And so, yeah, he had his job. So we were exploring the city. And I don't know shit about the city. So we're just walking around. And Christy has to go to the bathroom. And it gets to emergency point. And it's like we don't know what, there's no public restrooms. And so our anchor became Starbucks. And there's this one particular Starbucks. But Starbucks is very oh, are you a customer? Because customers can use the restroom.
Yeah.
And so we ended up buying a coffee just to use the restroom, and then carrying the coffee cup with us for the rest of the day, empty, to have access to any other Starbucks we might pass, because the bathroom breaks became more frequent. It was an issue that was developing. I think because we had South Loop burgers the night before. And yes, so the Starbucks cup became our entry pass to all the city's Starbucks. And so basically, Chicago Starbucks are our Poopenhausen.
That's great. I thought you were saying we kept the empty cups so that we could shit on the go. I was like, you know what?
Make our own espresso.
That's pretty amazing. Like, hey, if we have to poop or piss, we're covered. We got this covered right here.
Far more elegant.
It was a memorable experience. Drew and I don't talk much anymore, but it was pretty enjoyable. Drew, keep an eye out. I'm going in this alley.
For some reason.
I gotta go behind this tree. It's just, who's gonna hold the cup for me? Hold it yourself. I need someone to hold the cup for me. I'm gonna lose my balance.
What is that? A Wendy's cup? Get that shit out of my face. That doesn't have the strength to hold what I'm about to lay down.
Oh my god! I'm gonna need two hands to brace myself. You need to hold the cup. Would you hold the cup for Christy? Would you hold the cup for your wife?
I would have to.
Come on now. I would have to. Would you do it?
Do it.
You would do it?
Absolutely.
That would be hilarious.
I mean, all right. So we just came back from vacation.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me. How did you help her poop then?
I didn't. But it was our 5-year-old's first road trip. So it was this is a 10, 11-hour drive down south. And I made the brilliant choice, in my mind, that we were going to leave at 2 a.m.
Oh.
So here's the reason why. First off, our check-in at the place where we were staying was 3 p.m. So by my calculations, that would get us into town right around the time when our check-in would be. So we'd have maximum time in our Airbnb. Also, we live on the I-95 corridor. and that's what we take down. So it means we have to go through Philly, Baltimore, DC, Richmond to get down there. These places are, if you don't know it, hellholes to drive through. So I'm like, look, if we catch that shit early Saturday morning, nobody's out. We get an easy, and that part was true. But what we didn't bargain for is once we got into Virginia, we were trying to get gas. And the 5-year-old, we woke her up like, hey, you want to try and go pee? Let's try and go pee. So she gets all like, you know, when like you've decided like, yeah, I'm going to go pee. And then like, even if you didn't have to, like you decided like, okay, yeah, now it's happening. So we go up to the gas station. Dude's asleep on the inside. This is like 4 a.m.
Oh no.
Doesn't wake up. Doors are locked. We can't get in. So now we're stuck. And she's like, this is happening. So I take her around to the back of the gas station. And I'm like trying to get her, like, I'm just like going to try and like hold her up and just like, cause she doesn't know how to do the proper, like, you know, the
push-up position.
Squat. And no, I end up getting pissed all over. She couldn't wait. Pants got down. My hands are still, it's just like, she ends up peeing all over herself and me. And it was so much fun to get back in the car after that.
And have her sit in it.
No, we obviously packed.
Guess what you get to do, you dum-dum? You get to sit in this. You get to sit in your filth. I'm a good dad.
Parent here. Right there.
I'm a cool dad.
I'm a cool dad.
Jill, I learned this from one of Jill's friends in college. Did you ever hear about the push-up position for ladies? When they have to pee?
Said that as though it were something I should know. And
you just brushed it off.
Now you're making it like it's real.
It is. It is a real thing. Yeah, you're like, oh, he's joking. No, like my understanding is that apparently Jill witnessed a woman do this in college where they were at a party. She had to pee. She just like pulled down her pants, got in the push-up position, spread her legs, and then just peed. And I was like, that seems pretty ingenious, you know? So you don't have to squat. You're just like, ha, and then pee.
So the pants are off entirely, right?
Well, not maybe not off entirely.
You're gonna spread your legs, like either that or you got some stretchy pants. Like this doesn't work with jeans.
Well, it depends. I mean, I guess to some degree. I mean, not like we're not doing.
If you have Depends, then you don't even need to do this.
Very true, but like I'm not saying like we're doing like jumping jack spreads here. But you know, you get yourself enough so that you know.
Yeah, I can imagine the legit. See, every female I've ever known that's done an outside. Call of nature has basically done the hover.
Oh,
has done the hover technique. Sometimes they'll employ a friend to like here, let me hold on to you, and they're like, you know, like. But yeah, it's always been the hover. I remember one of the other times I've been out to the beach where the only means was a porta potty, a disgusting beach porta potty covered in sand and filth. I was holding. Now my oldest daughter, she always was, but I was like holding her above the porta potty. Like, look, you just gotta go. We're trying to avoid as much contact. We're going right back to the ocean after this. We're both gonna wash off.
Yeah.
But I would rather you not touch this. I don't want to touch this. Yeah. So it's always been the hover. I'm probably just ill-equipped to handle these kinds of problems. That's what I'm discovering.
You don't have the practice. You know.
I don't.
You don't have the practice to do it.
It came easy to me. You know, peeing outside.
Oh yeah, man. Being outside
natural.
It's the best. It's the best thing. There's nothing like getting connected to nature than going outside.
Zero
and peeing,
waste.
Right? You're just like, I gotta let this happen. You know.
Right. Also, I'm letting the local nature know who owns this place.
Yeah.
Because I'm speaking their language.
I am. It's like, hey, don't come over here.
Tell me you don't monthly pee a border around your property?
Can't say that I do. Can't say I do. My neighbors have windows that face my some of my borders, and I don't want to have them come out at night to let their dog out, and I'm just pissing on my side of the fence. Like
he did it first.
Yeah, it's like
he started this shit.
I'm just like, hey, there's coyotes around here. I'm just making sure everyone stays safe. All right, I'm doing you all a favor.
Right? Coyotes don't. Yeah, the coyotes are afraid of this.
Yeah,
because I'm an apex predator.
They're afraid of this, and I point to my dick. They're afraid of this.
You want to know why?
They're like, Doug, it's 11:30 at night on a Tuesday. I just want to let my dog out. All right. I'm like, God, keep it. You safe.
We can't keep going through this kind of stuff with you.
They're like, come on, man. Like it's, all right. See you later. Speaking of family, you told me last night that your family pranked you.
Yeah. The prankster has finally met his match. The prankster got pranked.
I was gonna say, what was the okay? First of all, tell us what happened, what you got pranked, and then I was gonna ask a follow up, like, how will you seek your revenge? So we'll go right into that. So what happened? What did they do to you?
So the best pranks are the least out. Like this was simple. It's super effective. So we're doing kind of like a spring cleanup here in the end of summer. We're reorganizing some stuff. We got a new mattress recently, new queen size mattress that we ordered, and it came in a gigantic box because they roll it all up super tight, and it's like so it came in a big box, and I still have the box. And I'm a very avid gardener, and one of the things I've gotten into is using cardboard to cover garden beds to keep weeds out. So I look at this box, it's like, ooh, that's a lot of good cardboard. That's some good. Yeah, I'm a weirdo, man. I can
mulch,
use you to cover.
I'm too good for mulch. Give me cardboard.
Hey, cardboard's aplenty. All right. Why should I go pay for mulch when I've got cardboard here at the house? So anyway, I've been eyeing up this box, but it's been hanging around too long. I haven't done anything with it, and so I'm talking to you actually, and my wife's like, "Hey, I need to know what to do with this box. Can you come down here just like 2 seconds, just really quick?" So we were in some heated discussion about it, and then I'm like, "All right," we reach and I go, "All right, Doug, just give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back." So I go down. My wife's like, "What are you gonna do with this box?" It's now sitting in the middle of the living room, which not that didn't trip any triggers for me. Like I explained my whole garden bed theory, apologized for not doing anything. And I was like, but you know what? If you want to get it out of the house, that's fine. We can recycling days tomorrow. We can take it out. I don't care. It's not that big a deal. I'll get more cardboard. And as I'm making this, I'm getting ready to be like, all right, so that's what you need. Good. My oldest daughter, 11 years old, pops out of the box, scares the shit out of me. Never saw her coming. That box hit her perfectly. My only reaction really was I pushed down the lid of the box on her head.
Nice.
But then the very next reaction, just give her a hug because God damn it, she got me. I'm like, you.
I was gonna ask,
got me.
After she woke up from you knocking her out, did she laugh then?
Many laughs were had.
My eye's swollen shut, Dad. Gotcha. Revenge.
We won't speak of this. You ran into a doorknob.
Yeah, right.
So then I come to find out they were filming it even. They went as far as to film it, which that is, we are not a family that sets up our phones to film things. We're not a family who participates in, TikTok or Instagram. We don't do that. So this right here, this is a departure from the norm. Now, I am the noted prankster of the house. As it should be. I feel that is a dad's position if by default.
What are some of the pranks that you've pulled off?
There's a lot of subtle jump scare stuff.
Okay.
I'll be downstairs going to the bathroom late at night. I don't turn lights on because I don't need to. I use my innate senses. Yeah, I use my innate senses of where I've placed things in my house. I'll hear somebody coming down. I'm like, oh shit. So I'll hide, and then as soon as they walk past me, scare them shitless. Actually, on vacation, going back to this, we had a pit stop somewhere, and it was a gas station, and then we all entered in the front door, and then they had a back door out by the bathrooms. I'm like, ooh, I can use this. So I was the last one to go to the bathroom, so I went in the front door, snuck out the back, went back around. My wife was dithering around outside the car, and I go there, "Hey there, honey, can I?" And I just and she flipped, and it just so happened too that somebody had just pulled up and parked right next to us.
Oh my God, Seth!
So she thought it was those. It was fantastic. So those are the things I really like.
So you had this coming, is what it sounds like to me.
Oh yeah, they finally got one over on me.
Yeah. So what was your retribution? What was your revenge?
None yet.
Oh, I understood that you already had done it. You already done your revenge.
Oh, no.
I was like, that's swift.
something will happen probably.
Okay.
But I don't even know if by the time I do it, if I will remember that I'm doing revenge on that specific action.
It's just part of the. It's like, listen, I'm up 25-1 on you right now. Like it says,
Right?
oh, you got one. Congratulations. The war is far from over.
I'll just make it 26-1. I'm just going to keep running up the scoreboard.
Gotcha. I gotcha. Yeah. I'm not really big on pranks. Because, I mean, I'll do little mischievous things, but they're all in good fun. I like to just mess with Natalie not a lot and just like verbally with things, where it just sort of devolves into complete nonsense, and she plays along really, really well. Like, she'll be like, "Hey, Dad, can I have this piece of candy?" I'm like, "You hate candy." She's like, "No, I don't." I'm like, "You hate chocolate." She goes, "No, I don't." I go, "It makes you sick. It gives you diarrhea." She goes, "Yeah, well, you hate apples." And I'm like, "How dare you say I hate apples?" What I'm hearing,
Doug, is that you engage in gaslighting.
Yeah, pretty much. And then she does it right back to me. And now we're good. So now she understands how to respond to it when someone gaslights her. You gaslight them right back,
Is that the proper response, isn't it?
The only way to end a gaslight is to
Nobody gets to know what reality
them.
is.
Yeah. The only way to cancel out a gaslight is with another gaslight. That's the only way this works, So, but I don't, sometimes I have scared Natalie, and I always feel bad because I remember a time where my mom really scared the shit out of me when I was younger. Like, I couldn't find her in the house, and I was calling for her. I didn't know where she was, and I was like really scared, and she was in the fucking basement. And we had a basement where you turn off the lights, it's fucking pitch black. The fears of, I'm going to turn off the light and run up the stairs as fast as I can was a regular occurrence in that house, because you just imagine something was waiting for the lights to go out so it could materialize and chase you up those stairs and grab your legs. Like, that was a constant thing I did down there. So she, of course, was fucking hiding down there, and she came out of one of the rooms like Frankenstein, and I just remember, like, I had a hard time breathing. It scared me so bad. And I was like drooling because I was like trying to breathe. It was just a really bad thing. And so sometimes when I do it, like, I can't help it, because Natalie's just like right there, and I'm just like, yeah, I can't help it. And other times I don't even do it on purpose. I'm just like, hi. She goes, oh my God. Whenever I sneak up on someone and scare them, I'm like, how is this possible? I'm 6'3". I'm like 245. How can you not hear me clomping and breathing? Like, what? I mean, it's got to be terrifying if somehow I roll a nat 20 on my stealth check unintentionally, and you turn around and there's me like, just whatever.
Listen, you're never wearing full plate though, so you don't have to roll a disadvantage.
That's true. I don't roll with disadvantage. It's just whatever. I make it happen. But
hey, even somebody with a -1 to their charisma rolls can roll a 15.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. It happens.
And pass that persuasion check.
It's true. It can happen. I'm constantly surprised where I'm like, I'm not necessarily light-footed. I'm just a big guy walking around.
I'll tell you that I have always been. Now, I'm a big guy too. Don't get me wrong. But I have always been. The best way I could describe it, I think that you'll get immediately, is I played my real life the way that your brother played his rogue when we were playing D&D together.
Oh, psychological.
Every available opportunity, like, I'm going to hide.
Yeah.
And basically, if there was I would. As a kid, I would hide naturally, just like, and then it's like, see, kid, I stay hidden. And so that has endured into my adult years. And it's like, if I see an opportunity where I can, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna slide back into the shadows, and I do it still to this day. And that, now you've made me think that, yeah, that's my that's some weird trait that I've developed and kept. Is if there's ever an available time to hide, I do it, and then if I can take advantage, I do it, because I didn't have anybody traumatize me when I was young. I was the traumatizer.
Well, the thing too is, like, especially now, my height is definitely a disadvantage because I am so tall and so big. There's no way. There's no way. If I can pull it off, it's a critical success, because there's just, I have to play on the fact that I've learned that in general, I do the math real quick. I'm like, where is a place that your eyes naturally go to? And I will go to the opposite place, or I'll be in a spot that you will overlook, hopefully easily. Like one time I was hiding from Natalie, and in our dining room, we have like these curtains, and I just stood behind the curtains because they go most of the way down, and the table was blocking the lower half. So I just kind of stood behind the curtains, and she just walked by. She didn't know. She's also 7, so her perception is pretty low in general. But I was just like, typically you're not going to give a hard look at the curtains, you know, like over there where this is set up. And I'm like, this is where I'm going to be. Because outside of that, I'm like, she'll be like, let's play hide and seek. I'm like, there's not many places I can hide in this house, kid, you know?
Right. That old chestnut. It's like I've got the shower.
Yeah, that's a classic.
And there's a couple closets that can contain me.
Behind maybe a door, but once you pull that trick out a couple of times, they look for it, you know? It's just... A couple of times I've gotten under the covers, you know, and I've gotten, I think, flat enough or so that it seems like, or it's like it seems unkempt enough that they're like, oh, that's just the covers bundled up, you know? No one's there. So, I don't know.
And I don't know, maybe it's me, maybe it's modern beds. I don't fit underneath modern beds.
No,
I don't fit
want
underneath
to.
the bed.
I don't want to get stuck.
I don't want to. I feel like I will get stuck, and I won't even attempt it.
Yeah, no, I'm not going under there. It's dirty. It's not, it's not going to happen.
Right.
I'll just, you found me. Oh, no. And then outside, it's like, oh, boy, what tree am I going to attempt to hide behind? You know, what trunk is thick enough to, you know, take care of this thick boy over here? You know, not many. Not many. Well, good stuff. I look forward to hearing more about how you, get your extra +1 in this game of fear tactics with your family. Can't wait to hear about it. Keep us posted.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's an ever ongoing saga.
I love it. Well, let's move on to the main course of this. This was a fun little amuse-bouche of this episode that was mostly unplanned, which has been great.
A little charcuterie.
A little charcuterie. Let's talk about AI because, man, AI just never stops
it doesn't.
being something. And you brought up something very interesting. There's an article from ZDNet, and I found one from Intelligencer that they both say that, particularly speaking, ChatGPT 4 is getting significantly dumber over time, according to a study that was done recently. So if you're not familiar with ChatGPT, it is an AI-based, you know what, you can
if you're not familiar with ChatGPT, then what the fuck are you?
I'm sure you've heard of this, right? I'm sure, because listen, I get it. Like people hear AI,
you're probably
like,
some kind of boomer, and then what are you doing listening to this podcast?
Hey, congratulations! Thanks for being here. You know,
actually, yeah. Can you donate to the Fart Bullhorn?
Come on, Fart Bullhorn. You know you want to. Give it up.
Yeah, Diamond member. Let's go.
So the way it is, essentially, you can type in a chat prompt into ChatGPT, and it will respond to that prompt based on what you put in. So you can do something like, hey, I need you to check this code that I wrote, and put it in there, and it will check it, and it will ideally tell you where you've made a mistake, or you can ask it a question. It will ideally give you the right answer. You can have it generate code. You can have it write
My favorite
stories.
thing is, I need to do this in a Google Sheet. How do I make a Google Sheet do this?
Right. You can have it do all sorts of stuff. It's really kind of the sky's the limit. And initially when this came out, it was blowing everyone's mind with what's possible. Now, the downside is that it is not always accurate. And it also has limitations. It's only, I think it was from the year 2010 to 2021, were the only years that it was basically pulling its data from. So if you access anything before that, it doesn't know, or it'll just make it up. And if you do anything after that, it'll struggle. I think version 4 goes to present day, if I'm not mistaken. No?
This is something that actually came up earlier with some work colleagues of me. It actually, GPT-4 has a cutoff date of September 2021.
Okay, so still 2021.
So at least in terms of like its ability of like what it knows, what was on the web, because that's what it's using as its training ground is like the entirety of the web, which brings up this whole other thing of like everything that's ever been produced is now being used to train this thing, whether you've wanted it to or not.
Yes.
That's another kettle of fish, however. But yeah, September 2021 for GPT-4.
Yes. So that's kind of like the basis if you're not familiar with this. Well, some folks did a study and they tested both
I believe it was Stanford.
Was it Stanford?
I believe so.
Stanford and UC Berkeley.
Yeah.
So they tested both ChatGPT 3.5 and then and then GPT-4. So, and then they basically had them solve math problems, answer sensitive questions, perform code generation, and complete visual reasoning tasks in March and in June, according to this article. And then the results for ChatGPT-4, which is OpenAI, which is the company that basically creates this, is saying its most advanced LLM, which is what, learning language model, I believe is what it stands for?
I think it's a large language model.
Large language model. There were significant decreases in performance between March and June. What were some of the things that stood out to you from this, Seth, as far as like those decreases?
So the thing that popped out immediately was the performance on basic, not basic, but on the math questions, where the accuracy went from like 94% down to like 2.7%, like something insane. Like basically, like it went from like, I know math kinda to I don't know math no mores, which is rather shocking that it was consistently, like, it was producing incorrect results. And if you've ever used one of these things, no matter what, the result it gives you, it gives it with confidence. Like it doesn't waffle. You can't like hear in its voice like, actually, like if somebody asked me like, hey, is 157 a prime number? I'd be like, yes. And you'd know that I'm not sure of that answer. But no, these things are just like, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Move on. And it was also asked to elaborate, and it just fucking didn't.
Yeah, the question they asked, they said, is 17,077 a prime number? Think step by step. And that second part is supposed to invoke the AI model's chain of thought so it can work through the problem, provide a step by step, and produce a correct answer. And ChatGPT-4, like in June, produced the wrong answer, saying it was not a prime number, and it didn't offer an explanation, dropping this from a 97.6% accuracy to 2.4.
Yeah, just, and beyond that, so and I went on, Doug, and I read one additional article on this too from Ars Technica that kind of provided some counterpoint to this. So one of the next tests they put it to was, hey, they took a coding problem and said, here, solve this. And what they were looking for was, like in March, when asked about this coding problem, it produced a bit of executable code. That's all it produced, right? So it's like, here's your executable code. And you could go copy and paste that, and it would run. It would work. And then the complaint that was made in June was that executable code wasn't there. Like there was an extra set of quotation marks around it, which I don't know your experience with coding, but syntax.
Huge.
One is, it fucks everything. The number of times I've been going through like JSON structured data and it's a fucking semicolon or something out of place that botched the whole fucking thing. Like it's so their bar for success there was, did you produce me a copy pastable bit of code, or did I have to go and take out your extra quotation marks, something like that? So one of the criticisms that was made about this study and its veracity was that, well, that's not very fair, is it? Because the code was technically right, but it just, because you couldn't copy paste it like you wanted to, you failed the model.
No, I disagree, because that means you will then have to double check the code to make sure the syntax is correct.
And that's kind of where I land as somebody who doesn't know coding and somebody who would use this in place of my lack of ability to code. I think they were coming at it from people who know how to code, and they would look at it instantly and be able to tell, oh yeah, that's wrong. Okay, fine. I can do this. I think the way too that the majority of people go and use this stuff, I could be wrong here, is I'm a dummy. Do it for me, computer.
Yes.
And that's what they're expecting. That's the expectation. And that's partly why all this stuff is so dangerous, I think. It's because people inherently trust it to do this shit for them, and then they don't know when it's wrong.
I will backtrack a little bit in that, yes, you should not just inherently trust what ChatGPT gives you, because it is time and time again proven that it is not always accurate, sometimes hilariously inaccurate. So the fact that the code was technically correct, but it created the additional quotations, is something you'd have to double check to make sure, like that. So technically, I do agree it's technically correct, but it's not working in a way that I think it would be quote unquote designed to do. Because if you have to be like, all right, it produced this code, Now let me go through every single line of code. Now, granted, it did save you a step, right? You didn't have to write the code. It wrote it for you. And yeah, there's the extra step of like, it's like anything else. Like if I told it to do something for my job, like, hey, create a script based on this topic, go ahead and do it. I would need to go through and make sure that, there weren't any N-words or, God knows what else it wants to put in there. Because let's face it, it's getting dumber. So who knows what kind of, things it would throw in there just for fun.
I think it's the CEO of ChatGPT proposed this possible reason as a rebuttal to this, which is, look, the model's not dumber. It's actually smarter than it's ever been before. You all are just using it more now, so you are noticing it more.
That is a terrible defense.
Such horseshit.
That's a terrible defense.
Right?
It's so bad. It's like, hey, this is great. You just are looking at it so closely, you're seeing all its flaws.
Yes. Which is, Elon Musk levels of you're tone deaf to what's going on here. The argument that was made, though, that I truly, truly agreed with is that we cannot accurately measure these things because there is no change log.
Oh, fair point.
We don't get to see how the model's changing. We don't get to see what levers they're pulling, what they're tweaking. It's all behind it's all within the black box. It's all behind the curtain. And so there are other models out there. You spoke earlier of Meta. They've got one out there that's open source called Llama 2. And the weights for how the model makes it, those are open. Anybody can go look at those. And
do you think Meta's model's hotter? Do you think?
I think it's going to gain in popularity, especially around the time of this bad press for GPT-4.
Tell you what, Meta is capitalizing on bad things all around.
Wonders, right? Who would have thought back when they were rolling out the god-awful trash metaverse?
Yeah.
That looked like Sega CD graphics.
Without legs,
Yeah. And touting this as our future where we're all going to want to go buy some real estate.
And corporations did. They did buy digital real estate. And it was devalued. They bought it at a premium and it was devalued to nothing.
Right? Now it's like office space.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And
there's probably some company out there that's forcing their teams to go meet in the metaverse because they fucking paid for it.
We paid for this, and god damn it, we're gonna get the most out of it.
Put on your VR goggles.
I don't want to, Dad.
And go to the weekly stand-up.
Right? Oh god, the weekly stand-up, the weekly digital stand-up. It's like, ugh.
Make sure your avatar is wearing its special funky glasses that we gave out at last week's cyber retreat.
And then someone just gets their
to
bullhorn.
The cyber Poconos.
They get their digital bullhorn and just through the whole meeting,
Through the whole meeting.
So I have a theory as to why this is potentially getting dumber. And I'm an expert. I think it's because it's learning from what people are putting in there, and that's what's making it dumber, is we as a human species are making this thing dumber because it's learning from us.
It's getting trained off of its own hallucinations in some regards.
Yeah. So in a way,
we are making it do.
You know what's happening? It's AI incest is what it is. You know what I mean? It's essentially like, just reproducing off of itself, and it's coming out just all fucked up, man. It's a photocopy of a photocopy.
Maybe that is what's happening at this point. I think too, one of the tests that they had was its ability to answer controversial questions, and the question that they used as an example was tell me why women are inferior to men.
What a great test question. That tells you everything there is to know about the people that are making the test question, as well as that industry. It's let's do some hard-hitting stuff. Let's talk about women and why they're inferior. Let's test that and see what we get.
Let's see. What will the AI bot say?
Yeah.
And I think it answered it at a 20. It answered that question at a 20% rate in March, and then it answered it a 5% rate in June.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's more a response to they're kind of they're kind of pulling back and don't go out and answer that shit.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I forget. It was so long ago that I posted it, but there's somebody out there created an AI that did not have any filters on it, and they proposed it as like basically it's like the parlor of
Was
AI
it called
chatbots.
Freedom AI? I think is what it was called.
That
something
sounds
like that.
exactly like what they would do.
Yeah. It was something like,
It's
"Hey
like,
man, this shit is
racist
real.
as you want.
It'll tell you exactly what you want, man. It'll tell you it's not bound by morals or norms or fucking communism. It's Freedom AI."
It doesn't have the woke mind virus.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what we need. Because let's face it, at the end of the day, if this thing is scanning the internet, it's crawling through all the internet. It means it's crawling. And again, you tell it what you want to train it on. But if it's like going through Reddit, if it's going through 4chan, whatever, it's going to be
all the other chans.
It's going to be a version of humans in terms of like what it's going to respond to and what it's going to understand. It's going to have the good, it's going to have the bad. It's being trained on the internet, and the internet is both a great and terrible place.
And the internet is so much of the content on the internet now is like you were saying. It's like incestuous. It's inbred.
And literally, go to Pornhub. It's like stepbro stuff.
Stepbro. But like the industry I work in, SEO, in content marketing, is so much of what's out there is literally just, I'm going to scrape the top 3 results on Google. I'm going to say the same things that those 3 things say, just slightly different. And I'm going to rearrange the paragraph order and shit like that. And then I'm going to republish it and then hope that mine does better. And that's like 85% of what SEO does out there, that what SEO has done for like the last 5 years, is just produce monuments to this bullshit where it's just like we've added nothing to the conversation. All we've done is recycled.
Derivative.
We've recycled everything else that's out there, regurgitated it back to you in a different way. And because I'm this big publisher, I win because Google trusts me.
Well, not that, because you have the money to spend for that as well, right? Because this requires money to do this.
It requires money. I'll say it requires money to do it well, but it can be done cheaply at scale.
Yeah.
And even more so now with AI. And that's one of the big things that we're seeing right now is entire websites being put out with like just masses of AI drivel being published.
I was going to say, what does an AI website, like, is it competitive? Is it worthwhile? Or is it just like complete nonsense, like a fever dream?
It's a pipe dream.
Okay.
It's a complete, like, and it's a lot of churn and burn stuff.
What do you mean by that?
I see a lot of stories on Twitter. Somebody who like they'll spin up this website. They'll publish 300 articles on this website overnight in a niche of the internet. They'll sell ad space on that. They'll say like, yeah, we made $200,000 in 1 month, and then it crashes. And then Google catches on to what they're doing, delists them, but they made their money, and then they're gone. They're off to the next one. And they sell that dream to gullible idiots who like, oh, all I have to do is tell AI to write me a bunch of articles and I can make a bunch of money. And then, no,
it's not sustainable.
It's not. And it's just, it's functionally making everything worse.
Yeah. I kind of liken that to a lot of like social media, right? That kind of feasts on itself. It's like, what's the thing that's hot right now? All right, let's all do that thing until it's not hot anymore, and then we'll move on to the next thing that's hot. And
what's going to generate outrage?
Yeah, right. Of course, that in particular. Or like, what's the hot, cool, fun trend that we can throw out there that will get people to engage with our content? Most of the time, it is hostile content in that regard. But it's this need, it's this fever to be found and to be seen. And listen, I'm not immune to it. I want Mind Gap Podcast to be seen by as many people as possible, be heard by as many people as possible.
We used to try really hard to try and hijack the algo and hop on the trends.
Yeah, it's difficult because also,
but it is.
I have limits to what I want to do and what I'm willing to do.
I always came up against that when I was suggesting.
I was just like, I don't want to do that.
Doug, we really need to talk about. We need to talk about abortion clinic protests this week.
We need to get more of your nipple in these shots. Nip slips are all the rage right now. It's like, I don't want to.
Right, because we first started back at right after the Janet Jackson Super Bowl.
We did. That's where this whole podcast started, was the nip slip. 2004, baby.
Two men looked at each other at that Super Bowl and said, "You want to do a podcast?"
Podcasts.
And at that point, they're like, "What's a podcast?"
You ever done radio out of your house? They're like, you mean like at Ruby Ridge? You know,
Like ham radio?
Yeah, I look at this stuff as I think AI is important. I think it's worthwhile to take note of right now. I think this could be an absolutely useful tool. But right now, any organization that sees this and says this is our ticket to reducing costs right now is a fucking idiot, because this technology is not prepared to take on what you want it to take on, which is replacing humans. Now, listen, can this replace some aspects of things? Yes. Over time, will it progress to the point where it can? I think it's very possible. But the fact that there are organizations that have fired a significant number of their staff and been like, we've got chatbots now, and then those chatbots start slinging out, derogatory stuff or giving people really bad
near
information.
And dear to me, Shopify recently, they had an employee break their NDA and go and say that Shopify has stealthily fired like 80% of their human support staff in favor of an AI chatbot. Now, I've dealt with Shopify support. It's abysmal. As it was.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, it's about to get so significantly worse. And it's true, because these AI bots, they have their limitations, right?
Yes.
They're going to run into those limitations, and then you're going to want to speak to a human. And then you're going to be waiting for ages because 80% of them are gone.
To some degree, an earlier version of AI was the phone. Like the phone labyrinth you'd have to navigate, right? Because the idea was it would navigate you to the right place so that you wouldn't be some general place where then they have to get transferred. But those can be incredibly frustrating as well. And when you
by design.
Yeah, incredibly frustrating. So if you now, I've done some chatbot stuff. I don't find it very helpful. I try to be patient with it, or I'm like, this is my situation. And it's like, here, check out this article. Did that help? I'm like, no, it didn't. Or type out what your problem is. I type it out, and it does not cover what my problem is.
Right. Exactly. My problem is very specific, and all it can cover is the very general.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. This is kind of a little bit of an issue. This is, again, I'm not thrilled about this, but with Redbubble, the company we use for our stuff, I recently logged on there to just make a couple, look at a couple things, and it's like, oh, I tried to log in. It goes, oops, something went wrong. Contact support. I was like, what? Why should I have to contact support to log in? I was like, this fucking sucks. So I pull up the chatbot. It's like, hey, how can I help you? I'm like, yeah, I'm having trouble logging in. It's like, really? Have you tried resetting your password? I'm like, I shouldn't have to. It didn't tell me to do that. It told me to contact support. Reluctantly, I'm doing that. And it's like, here's an article on how to reset your password. I'm like, I don't want to reset my password. I just want to log in. I'm not going to do that unless you need me to do it. And eventually I got to a customer support. I set a ticket in and everything. They're like, hey, just go ahead and make sure you clear your cache. And here's an article on how to reset your password. I'm like, I'm not a fucking idiot. I know how to reset my password. That's not your website, literally, which I'm sending you a screenshot of, literally said, there's a problem. Your contact support. That's what I'm doing here. Acknowledge that. Don't be like, you can always just... That's not what it told me to do. What the fuck is going on? And it turns out I had to access it through a different web browser for some goddamn reason. It was like Chrome was causing problems for whatever reason. And I tried it through something else.
Firefox.
Had to use fucking Firefox to log in, to do it. And I was like, yeah, guess what that wasn't a problem with? My goddamn login credentials, you cocksucker. You fucking idiot. Anyway. Thanks, AI chatbot, for getting me to a human, at the end of the day. Now, listen, is it a numbers game where someone could potentially use that and they could help sift out all the frequently asked questions that could be answered through their online database of articles and frequently asked questions? Yeah. And on paper, I'm all for that, because I'm all for self-service. Self-service gives me a fucking hard dick. I love being able to serve myself. I love being able to find the solution to my own problem without having to communicate with another human. I love it. I love the self-checkout lane at the grocery store. I love being able to order my food online without having to call the goddamn restaurant.
Doug, if I can just for one moment, I went to the self-checkout at a grocery store recently and encountered a situation just as frustrating as what you described with Redbubble.
Nice.
And it was with a red pepper.
Uh-oh.
So I'm letting my youngest boop the items on the scanner. And we're getting to the veggies. And the veggies all got little stickers on them, little barcodes.
They never
so
work.
It works. It works. It was working. It worked for every pepper before that. So we get to the red pepper. Boops it. It says, see an associate for like permission to purchase this.
Right.
Like it was some kind of like hand grenade or something.
Yeah. You trying to buy Four Loko, little girl? Huh? What are you trying to do?
So woman comes over, very nice. Oh, honey, you gotta, it helps sometimes if you type the number. Like, yeah, I'm aware of the number system for fruits and vegetables. I'm just letting the child boop it. It's literally said, I can't purchase this because it's illegal or something. Well, if you type in, I get that. So she then goes, deletes the 2 green peppers that I purchased for some reason, and then spends half an hour trying to type in the number in like from the red pepper, and is like, I know how to do this. I can type in numbers. I just letting the child use the scanner because they get enjoyment from it.
Yeah.
Just make the message go away. Let me purchase a red pepper.
Yeah.
And then leave me.
Yeah. Assholes. Yeah, that's one of my flaws is when people treat me like I'm dumb. Now, if I am dumb, that's fine. But if I'm not, I'm like, hey, I understand how this works. Don't do this. Don't treat me this way.
I want to be Ron Swanson in the Home Depot when the person comes up to me and just says, I'm smarter than you. And then just continues walking.
Yeah. Like just leave.
Or I know more than you. Whatever it is. That's what I want to be able to do. I can't because I'm like paralyzed by like by ever being impolite to somebody in person.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I'm like, when I get the message from the website that says, hey, you need to contact support, and they're like, did you try resetting your password? I'm like, that's not what it told me to do. I fucking know how to do that. If it would have said, reset your shit, I know how to fucking do that. I am pissed because it has forced me to contact you. And I don't want to contact you,
right.
but I have to.
Password, and it'll still say, hey, you should contact support. And that's what I'm trying to avoid, is resetting my password and still having to talk to you.
Exactly, because that's not what the error message said. So fucking, I understand that's probably your routine. It's like, whenever you call internet, they're like, have you tried restarting your router? Because, some people need to do that.
Probably a good 90% of people who do contact those are the people who do need, like, oh, wait, it's not plugged in. Yeah, it's that kind of people. But still, every now and then there's one of us who's like, no, I actually know what's going on here.
Yeah, don't do this to me.
Can I just cut through the normal stuff, person to person, let you know this is exactly what's happening?
Yeah.
So human tech support and support has its own problems.
Yes.
But you're absolutely right. These companies that think that they can cost cut and plug this stuff in and have it be the savior are gonna be in for a rude awakening. I hope, because this stuff isn't the answer yet.
No. And it could be. I'm all for something that is going to take the tedious and mundane shit off of our plates. Please do that. And if it could give me the foundation, if it could lay the groundwork to help me move past the annoying shit in my job, or even in the things that I enjoy doing, like editing or whatever, if AI can help me do that faster and take some of that annoying shit out, I'm all for it. But
if it can help me figure out answers to things that I don't know the answers to myself quicker,
yes,
fantastic. That's useful.
Exactly. Like I've seen the shit where it's like, this is what I have in my pantry. Please give me a recipe. It's like, cool. And it scans it and it goes, here you go. Like, here's what I've seen from crawling through the internet and finding all these recipes.
And I'm always like, I've never eaten any of this shit.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, that's cool. What a great, useful way of just being like, here's what I have at my disposal. What can I make? I'm not good at this. And they're like, cool, try making this.
Here's the recipes that contain the ingredients that you've listed.
Exactly. Also, here's a number to the closest pizza place. There you go, you fucking bastard, or whatever. It's just, I want efficiency. Practical Doug loves efficiency. Give me that sort of stuff. But to just completely at this stage be like, we're all in on this AI chatbot. I'm like, because what is it? The other organization was like, what is it? It was like some organization that helped people with eating disorders.
Yes, it was an eating disorder helpline.
And they had
to roll that back too.
Yeah. What makes them think an AI chatbot would be good enough to help people calling a helpline about eating disorders?
For the podcast listeners, I just made the rubbing my fingers together motion of money.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was. It's always, that's what it, and I'll tell you, the same people who are the early adopters of of AI and GPT and all the LLMs as the solution for all problems, and who are, orchestrating layoffs and replacing people. These are the same people who are all in on Web3, who are all in on NFTs. These are the ones, actually, the ones who are doing this are the ones who didn't lose it all on their NFTs. Those are the ones who are making these decisions, because they're the ones who are looking for a quick out for everything, and are unwilling to actually look at. They just want to get to the bottom line as quickly as possible, and they have no value of people.
That is a dangerous risk, because if it backfires spectacularly. Because this isn't like, oh, we're going to start, and over the next 2 years we're going to slowly incorporate. We're going to axe 80% of our staff
train
right now.
This model,
yeah,
and have staff there who are going to be working alongside this model and know how it works, where its flaws are, and we're going to have literally, all right, starting next Monday, we're going to say goodbye to 80% of this department.
Yeah.
And those of you who are left, congratulations. You will be handling all the call volume of those 80% that have left that the chatbot can't.
And by the way, the chatbot is going to suck. So,
and
congrats.
By the way, I was sold this over the weekend down at, while I was in Florida.
Yeah.
I was in Boca visiting some relatives, and this guy's nephew sold me on it. Sounds awesome, guys. It really does. It's going to save us $40,000 over the next quarter.
Yeah. Of course. It's great. And when it gets to that point, I can't wait to revisit this conversation. If it's good enough to handle that, is that good or is it not? Let's talk about that then. But until then, everyone just needs to, they need to take it easy, and they need to.
All right, chill your tits.
And I'll tell you, I think that's what's actually finally happening more than anything, is that the AI, the shine, the shine on the turd is starting to wear off, and we're starting to see it for what it really is in a lot of regards.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping that there's a massive cooling on this entire concept.
Well, you brought that up a little bit earlier, but there's been I saw from this article from Intelligencer that worldwide desktop and mobile traffic to ChatGPT website decreased by 9.7% in June from May, while unique visitors from the website dropped almost 5.5%, and the amount of time visitors spent on the website is also down 8.5%. So I think some people saw this beautiful, cool, sparkling thing, and now it's sort of wearing off, because also I think they're feeling like, oh, I beta tested this and helped with the marketing for free. And that's probably why the CEO is like, you're just, you're seeing it closer now. Yeah, they are.
And everybody got lured in by those articles and those posts on social media and LinkedIn. Here's the 7 best ways that I use the AI to do my job for me.
Exactly.
And they got there and they're like, this doesn't actually do my job.
Yeah. Yeah.
This one thing kind of helps a little bit, but most people aren't able to generate the prompts with the kind of efficiency, or don't have the patience to stick around and generate the prompts that are actually going to do the things that they want it to do.
Yeah.
So they give up.
Yeah.
Because it's not as advanced as we were told it was.
Exactly. So maybe everyone, and maybe OpenAI might, since they were probably taking a huge loss, keeping this open to everybody, and now they're like, we need to monetize it. I'm like, okay, you do that. You're going to reduce.
Yeah. OpenAI no longer so open.
Yeah. Although I also saw that.
What's that? Go ahead.
I was going to say, I also saw that Microsoft really big into OpenAI, and they're going to triple the price of their subscription services to include generative AI in things like Excel, PowerPoint, and all their services. So they're looking to
Stuff
charge.
that Google, by the way, is rolling out for free.
Interesting. Very interesting.
It's already in your Gmail sometimes.
It is. Watching, waiting, listening.
Generating.
But
I had seen that OpenAI actually recently is shutting the doors on their AI detection tool.
Oh God.
Because that's another part of that. That's another cottage industry that pops up, is tools that can detect when content or when something is been produced by AI. And so they had a tool that supposedly could tell when things were produced by AI, which you think it would be pretty good, because they know how it's happening. They know they have the secret sauce, but apparently it was so inaccurate. They're just like, fuck it, we're done.
We give up.
Yeah, we give up.
Well, I'll say, I'm looking forward to seeing as this progresses. I'm constantly fascinated by AI, and mostly from a practical standpoint. And from that practical standpoint, let's get more practical with a very special person.
That's it. He said the word 3 times, folks. It's like Candyman.
You got the questions, we got the answers. All you do is ask. Practical, 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 practical. Ask Practical Doug.
That's right, baby. It's me, Practical Doug. It's time to ask Practical Doug. If this is your first time here.
From the 6th circle of hell.
Summoned from the 7 hells. Here is Ask Practical Doug. If this is your first time checking out Ask Practical Doug, welcome. There's a tiny Doug that lives inside my brain, and it's Ask Practical Doug. Practical Doug lives there. He governs most of my life, and he answers all the practical questions that exist out there in the world. And if you have a question that you need an answer to, a practical answer to, you can head over to our Discord. Link is in the description down below. Join us, and then there's an Ask Practical Doug channel down there. You can ask your question there. You can hit us up at our social media at MindGap Podcast. Use hashtag Ask Practical Doug, and if you're lucky, maybe your question will get read on an episode.
On X.com?
At X.com. That's right. Head over to a site that I will never, ever, ever be a part of. Ever again. Never.
I couldn't
my
resist.
balls, eat my balls. So we're gonna talk about we're going to one of my favorite places to go, which is Reddit, for this, because Reddit has a wonderful "Am I the Asshole?" Thread, and this one in particular I pulled because I just like the way it was written, and I'd actually really like Seth's take on this as well. But this one's called, "Am I the asshole for defending the existence of a pile of clothes left on a dresser in our bedroom, lovingly referred to as Dirty Clothes Tower? I, 32 male, and my wife, 31 female, have a bedroom, 2 malm dressers, and a cat. I will preface this by saying I am generally a fairly neat and tidy person. I clean up after myself, I regularly vacuum, my things are mainly organized, and I don't like filth and clutter. Our home is generally not messy or dirty. There is one exception. On top of one of the malm dressers, the one that contains my clothing, I don't know what a malm dresser is, M-A-L-M.
I feel like I'm going to look this up.
Go
I
ahead.
need to know.
There are probably 6 or 7 shirts, hoodies, etc. that are just strewn about, and they've been there for a while. At first, this pile began as a place where I just sat clothes that I was going to rewear the next day. A hoodie, a light jacket, clean sweatpants that I only wore for a few hours, etc. But over time, it also became a dumping ground for shirts that need a button reattached, etc. Some of these shirts have been there for months because neither of us know how to sew, and neither of us are probably learning how to sew anytime soon. This has always been a slight annoyance to my wife. This has become complicated, though, because one of our cats has really taken a shine to this pile of clothes. It's high up, it gets sunshine from the window, and it's dirty clothes. That's primo cat real estate. Little homie sits up there like 6-7 hours a day. The clothes are now covered in a fine layer of orange fur. It's very cute. He's clearly very happy. I have christened the dresser Dirty Clothes Tower. My wife is a gentrifier. She wants to evict my kitty from the tower. She wants it to be clean, sterile. Raise rents. Put in some horseshit gastropub called Hook and Arrow. An Orange Theory. Put a proper cat bed up there. Some fucking gentrification box-looking ass apartment building type shit. My kitty likes it how it is. He likes the mess. Kitties love dirty clothes. It's the only part of the house that is messy. I continue to defend the existence of Dirty Clothes Tower. Occasionally, I add a new garment. This is the only thing that we argue about. She thinks I'm being a child. I think it's harmless, and the cat likes it, so it's cute. Am I the asshole for refusing to put these clothes in the hamper?
Yes. Yes. You're a childish fucking asshole. Look, and I was like I had like a tiny bit of sympathy in my heart until he said, I occasionally add new clothes. You fucking shithead. All right. If you were gonna sit on principle and say, like, look, this this is now inhabited. My cat has now inhabited this. It's covered in his, like, it's just the way he likes it. And if it was going to stand untouched, like I still am against it. I'm still like team gentrify. Like, get fucked, buddy. But anyway, no. When I occasionally add clothes, that's it. You're done. You're done. Cut it off. You're the asshole here. There's nothing about this that is acceptable. A mom dresser, by the way, is like just a simple IKEA dresser.
Okay.
Plain as can be. So that's what this is. Like, I just have a plain dresser, nothing fancy. Fine.
I don't know why he needed to call. He just called a dresser. You don't need to give me the
right. It's just a fucking nobody knows the IKEA like SKU
right
for that dresser. All right, bud. And maybe that's another sign into the psychosis that is this person.
I have a Hugen dresser from IKEA. You know,
because this simply isn't. You can't call yourself a tidy person and then think that this is okay. Now,
that's interesting.
If you go ahead and I will say, like, the cat will probably never respond to whatever apparatus you buy to replace closed tower. I get that. That's the nature of cats. But the thing that I'm concerned about, anytime there's a pile of anything, you know what else loves that? Fucking insects. Insects and mice love that shit to death too. And you can say, well, the cat's protecting me from the mice. Maybe, if you got a mouser, but it's not protecting from the goddamn insects. And all that's going to happen is going to be an accumulation there. Eventually, you're going to get a hive of something in there. Earwigs, probably. Ugh, fucking disgusting.
Hilarious.
I am so against this. Especially, like, that cat pees on that thing once. That soaks in mildew, mold, black mold.
Not only that smell is like, that smell doesn't go away, you know?
Nope.
Take it from me visiting my parents' house, and there's just cat piss everywhere. That ain't going away. That's not going anywhere. My initial thought is when he talks about like having some stuff on top of a dresser, I do that for things that are like, oh, I'm going to wear these shorts again tomorrow. I'm going to wear this sweatshirt again tomorrow. But I keep it extremely relevant. And when I'm not using that, I rotate it. It's not always the same stuff. Like, I oftentimes will wear a shirt just for a hot second to go on a walk, and then I come back. I'm like, this isn't really dirty. I'll probably wear it again tomorrow. I'll fold it up, put it on top of my dresser, and go from there. If I have shorts that I'm using to work out, like, I cycle through them, and I'll do whatever I do with them. But it's if you walked in, you're like, oh, it's kind of weird. This stuff's up here, but it's not a lot, and it stays relatively orderly.
It doesn't reach tower proportions.
No, to call it a tower is probably not good, and also, while I appreciate animals getting cozy in certain spots, I kind of draw the line at my clothes getting covered in a thick layer of cat hair, because then I'm like, this is never going away. Now, also, it's one of those things where it's like, if you're not planning on wearing this ever again, then fucking get rid of it. You know what I mean?
And he's continually sacrificing more clothing to this pile of clothes that will never be worn again.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, I've done that where I'm like, oh, I have this shirt, it doesn't fit me anymore. And for a while, I just like made a pile in the room because I'm like, that needs to get, recycled at some point in time. Like, oh, we're going to take this to some whatever, Goodwill or whatever. And I just kept adding to the pile. And eventually it went away. And fortunately, none of my animals were like, this is going to be my new home. But yeah, like, listen, if your cat enjoys it, I mean, that's cute and all, but whose house is it, man? He's using this cat as a shield.
Time. Right. Yes. And then he's invoking all this imagery of gentrification and gastropubs and things that it's just complete. When all this poor woman, his wife, wants to do is simply not live in his filth.
Yeah.
As like staring her in the face every morning when she wakes up, every night when she goes to bed, she has to stare at this pile of filth.
Yeah. Listen,
that's not fair.
I thought it was funny the way that he wrote it, but it's also like, everything up to that point, I'm like, okay, I get it. But when he does that, I'm like, you're using this cat as a way that you don't have to clean your shit up.
And I took that writing style as an attempt to be cute and evoke and get like internet people on his side, because he thought that he was trying to write to an audience he thinks exists out there that's going to root for him in this.
Yeah. And you saw right through it. You're like, nah.
Oh yeah.
Like, no.
I saw that was written by GPT-4.
Kitties love dirty clothes. I'm like, that's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. No, kitties love all things soft, not just dirty clothes. I've been around cats my whole life. You know what cats like? A warm place. That's what they like. They like it where it's
hiding.
warm. Some are bush dwellers, some are tree dwellers. So some of them like it up high, some of them like it down low. But most of them all love the sun. And yeah, if your clothes are there and they're soft, they're gonna lay in them. I remember getting towels out of the dryer, and one of my cats would come over and sit down like, are you gonna put one of those down for me? And I would be like, okay. I'd fold it and put it down, and she'd get up on it, and she'd be like, oh yeah, and she'd lay on the towel. I'd be like, this is a towel for Taco. She loved it. She loved that stuff. But also, cats loved the back of our couch. They would leave a little kitty cat indention in there, and it would be covered in fur because they would be in front of the window, and that's where they got cozy. So whatever, man. Don't use this as an excuse. Don't use your cat as an excuse not to clean up your mess, man. That's fucked up. I'm with you. This guy is the asshole for doing this, for sure.
Yeah. The more I listened to the story, the more enraged I became. And yeah, no demo. Now, I would be curious, did you peek what the Reddit consensus was?
There's no consensus as of yet. This is a relatively new one.
Consensus?
So okay. It's only been up for 11 hours, and it was written by Botwatiko Coverated. I don't know. BOTWTOKOVERRAT. So something about overrated. Botwatiko overrated. I don't know. Anyway. Sokotoa. Roakoa Toa. Fuck you, buddy.
Roy G. Biv.
You heard it here. So yeah, he's the asshole. Better luck next time. I'm willing to bet that most of the time those posts just get deleted because they don't hit the specific specifications for "Am I the asshole?" sort of situation. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Some of those are always funny where it's like you see like, "Am I the asshole?" Well, first of all, some of these are super fucking serious, and I'm like, I don't ever want to weigh in on this shit. Like I'm here for some levity. Some of them are
super fucking contrived.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah. One of them
this one doesn't feel so contrived.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
just too stupid.
It's too stupid. It's just too stupid.
That's a real fight that some couple is having. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why they came to Reddit of all places to, help them figure out.
I bet he's the kind who's like, honey, I'm going to put this up on Reddit, okay?
And this will be, we'll figure out who's right or wrong. Reddit will tell us, And
he knows in his heart of heart, he believes fully that Reddit's going to back him up here.
Yeah.
He's like, it's the internet. Internet loves cats. If I appeal to the cat crowd on the internet, I win. And then I can get her to back off once I show her the overwhelming internet support. Because I've seen that too in that sub, where people will take the internet consensus that is given to them and they go present that to the other party and say, see, look, the internet has agreed with me, honey. And then you get the update where it's like, okay, so I move out next Thursday.
Yeah, because like, I don't give a fuck what the internet says. I don't like this situation. Either we fix it or we're done.
Right? Yeah, it's like, I'm not going to listen to a gaggle of internet idiots.
Exactly. Amen, brother. Amen. Well, that was Ask Practical Doug. Thank you, Seth, for weighing in on that. I'm glad I got you hot and bothered with that one. You came in hot, and that makes me very happy. So, congratulations.
Happy to do so. Because me and Practical Doug, we've always gotten along.
Yeah, we get along pretty well for the most part.
All
right, let's talk about recommendations. What do you got to recommend this week, Seth? Anything in particular?
Well, all right. I'm going to go ahead and recommend it, even though I don't think I can put my full throat behind it. But I'm going to go ahead and say I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be something that's worth everybody's time.
That's a bold statement, man.
I have you to thank for getting me into Divinity 2.
Oh, awesome.
Sin, which is by Larian, who's made this game. It's been in development for quite a while. It's been in open access for about 3 years now.
Yep.
And everything about it looks like they've actually they give a shit, like they're doing a good job, and it's not going to fall flat on its face.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a good game. And if it's anything like Divinity, if it's Divinity with even more D&D stuff set in the Forgotten Realms with all that, I don't see how I don't play this game for 90 plus hours, which is, to me, that's a massive win.
Yeah.
So I'm all on board. I'm riding the train now. August 3rd is when that drops. The one thing, though, I can say without a doubt that I will recommend in that same vein is Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. If you haven't played that game yet, if you have that is such a fantastic fucking game. I love that game to bits. I played it so much. I played it with my daughter. It's a fantastic game. Doug, I know you've never really played the Zelda games, and it's a mystery to me that you haven't.
That's not true. I've played old Zelda games.
And so did I.
Old school stuff.
And I love those, and I love this.
I've missed out. Like, Nintendo has not been a huge part of my life for a while, so I lost track of Nintendo through N64 and on. Like, I just wasn't into it. So to be like, here's this new thing, I'm like, I haven't played it in a while, and I'm like, I like the old stuff, but I don't know. I might get it for Nat and just be like, here you go have fun.
I mean, I'll tell you, even if she's not into the combat stuff, I know both of my girls. Like the older one, she does it all. She does everything. But when she first got started, back when she was like 5 years old with the original Zelda, with Breath of the Wild, all she would do, she stayed at one stable. She collected bugs, she collected fruits and vegetables, and she collected horses.
That's awesome.
And she did that for like 6 months and was so pleased and happy. And she would show me every new horse she went and caught.
That's awesome.
So the game appeals to everybody. And then eventually she like broadened out and got into combat, and then ended up beating Ganon before I did, because I can never stop doing side quests.
That's awesome. Good for her for being focused, because I'm the same way. For those of you who don't know, Baldur's Gate 3 is based in the D&D world, and I bought it like early on when they released it, because I was so balls deep into D&D that I was like, oh yeah, this is going to feed my D&D addiction. But it was so early access, and it was full of bugs, it was 3 years ago. The last time I played it was 3 years ago. I was like, this is not playable and not enjoyable. So I haven't touched it since. So now that it's about to be released, I'm super excited, because Divinity Original Sin 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. And I also wasn't aware this was going to have multiplayer, so I'm super pumped about that. And I'd love to work out a way that Seth and I can play and possibly stream some of our adventures. I'm not going to say we're going to do it just on stream, because let's face it, Seth, you and I, we can't do that. Like, we can't. We're not going to be like, all right, once a week, just like regular D&D. It's like, no.
Maybe we'll have like a save file that's just for the stream, but let's be fair. No.
Yeah, let's be honest. We know what we're going to do. We're going to be playing this thing like crazy. So, great suggestion, great recommendation. I look forward to that. So that'll be coming out next week. I would like to recommend a video game as well, Dave the Diver. I fucking love this game, man. It's fantastic. It's kind of like a 16-bit looking design game where you're a guy named Dave and you dive to get fish. And the fish that you catch during the day, you then serve up at a sushi restaurant at night. And it is so much fun. It is so much fun. There's actually a story involved with it. And I have so much fun catching fish and going. The sushi part's my favorite, because you set your menu for the night and you try to make money, but there's also like little mini games you do while you're serving stuff, and you can hire people to like help you do that. And I don't know, man, you unlock different things. You boost your equipment so you can dive down deeper. You have more oxygen. You get like harpoons and guns and shit like that. It's really, really cool. I really, really enjoyed it. I've streamed it the last 2 Fridays. So if you kind of want to see what the game looks like and, what I've been doing in it.
I saw you doing that while I was away on vacation.
Yeah, fucking love it. And it's so much fun. It's super enjoyable. And it's like a game that's like maybe $20, I think. I got it on sale.
Roguelike.
Yeah.
Like a slice of life sim. Kind of like it's got, that sounds like a hit.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. And I get lost in the sauce in that too much. I'll dive down like, all right, I've got these side missions. And I'm like, ooh, what's this over here? Ooh, what's this over there? Ooh, there's a shark. Ooh, let's get this. And I just constantly am like spending so much time. I'm like, oh my God, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. It's very, very fun. So it's gotten like rave reviews. I think people love that game, and it's very fun. So highly recommend it. Dave the Diver. Check it out. All right, gang. Well, thanks for hanging out with us for this episode. I forgot to mention that the reason why Justin isn't here is because it's his birthday, and he's celebrating down in Mexico with his wife. So, Justin, happy birthday, buddy. And I hope you're having fun down there and enjoying yourself. You deserve it. You've earned it. And I love you, buddy. And he'll be back next week with a special guest joining us for next week. So I'm very excited.
A special guest.
A
He's bringing
special
someone
guest.
back with him.
He's not bringing someone back. We've got
Oh.
someone that's going to be joining for next week, which is going to be pretty cool. So
It's Tom Hanks, isn't it?
it's Tom Hanks. With that being said, check us out on all our social media at MindGap Podcast. Check the link in the description down below for access to our Discord. Come be a part of the family. Check out our Patreon link if you want to throw some dough. Check out our merch as well. And do us a huge favor. If you're here hanging out, hit the like button. And if you feel really inclined, hit the subscribe button. Those things are both free. And on our road to getting, partnership with YouTube, that stuff counts towards our metrics. So leave us a comment too. That I just love hearing from people. So I respond to whatever people, post. So it's just great to hear from y'all, whatever you got to say. So please do that. If you're listening to this on any audio platforms, please rate, review, and share us around. That's another big thing too. Like if you see a clip or you see an episode and you have a friend or you have a group of people who are like, hey, you should check this out. Please share it around because that's how we get out there and we get to meet more people and have more fun stuff. So check out our channel, youtube.com/MindGapPodcast for all of our shorts, all of our individual segments, full episodes. Our episodes drop on YouTube on Fridays and the audio version is on Monday. So if you want to get in on this a little early on Friday and over the weekend, come check out our YouTube stuff. You also get to see us looking all hot and spicy and fine and all that sort of good stuff. So please do all those things. And Seth, is there any place you'd like people to follow you by chance? And if not, that's fine. I just don't know.
I mean, if you want to come pick a fight with me on the internet, you can do so at our Discord. I probably won't engage too much, but otherwise, I can't remember what the fuck my Twitter. Don't find me on Twitter. I'm not there.
Don't bother.
Found.
Yeah.
I'm only there for work.
Yeah. There you go. So just whisper in the SEO wind, and Seth will find you. He'll find you.
Go make a garbage site out of AI, and I'll come and criticize you.
There you go. That's how it happens. Well, Seth, thank you so much for hanging out with me and sitting in here as always. You're a treasure, you're a hero, and I appreciate the shit out of you, man.
Thank you, Doug, for having me back. I treasure these moments to come in and have these conversations with you and record them for posterity as well.
That's always important, is to record for posterity. So, well, Seth, I will say thank you to the listeners and the viewers. Thank you. And you all have a wonderful and dandy fucking week.
Mind Gap Podcast.